Just a little bit, a touch, a little bit. Hagada, no one has too much koyach. No one has koyach to listen. I don't have koyach to talk. So tell a little bit. This is a manishtana alayla azeh mikol alaylas, right? It's the beginning of the Hagada after halas ma'anya. The magid, the manishtana alayla azeh mikol alaylas. What is it in the English translation, or the Yiddish translation, any translation into another language, it always says, Ma nishtanu alayla azeh mikol halaylos. Why is this night different from all other nights? I remember when they used to teach the children out of town, to say the Ma nishtanu in English, they would say, why is this night different from all other nights? So, and then Yiddish suchen verwusste der nach dem Pesach anders an nach einer ganzen Jahr, yeah? Right, that's what they say. When the Brisker Rav heard it, he was very not niche, because he said, Sie fragen was, and mir fragen was. What does it mean? He said that they're saying why is it different? And we said, what is it different? In other words, just tell us what to do. Understand why it's different? We understand it's the night of Yetzias Mitzrayim. You understand? Vatechzach Mitzrayim Alom l'shalcha Alamaya l'shalcha menoritz. We know it's the night of Yetzias Mitzrayim. So it says the Manishtanu Alayla Azeh is what is different. What do we have to do? You tell us what we have to do. Right? Not why. Why? Figure out why. How can a person know? You understand? What does it say? Rachmana Amreit Titiko, right? It says, Manishtanu Alayla Azeh, what's different? But the Torah is ayin Kodem la Torah, and the Divrei Torah is Kepatish Yefot Tzela, is Derushim L'chol Chavtzayim. I'll tell you a little something, also a little bit of machshava, that the first of the shilas is Shebachol Alayla Sono Oichun Chometz Matzah, Alayla Azeh Kula Matzah, right? The first shilah came on the Chometz and the Matzah. Right, that was the first question, the chometz and the matzah. Okay? So I mentioned the Shabbos Hagod, the Shabbos Hagod, the second night Yom Tov. I mentioned the Rambam, because the same Issa of chometz that to have a chometz on Pesach, the same Issa applies to Menochas. That the Menochas, even the Shiur mincha she'ofer chometz chelkam, right, is matzah's teofer, that the menochas had to be matzah, it couldn't be chometz, right? And the same thing is lo she'ofer chometz chelkam. It says there's a lav and an esser. The esser is matzah's tiyah, and the lav is lo she'ofer chometz chelkam. So that lav of Laseofer Chometz Chelkam is a lav Yochayv Malchus. If a person is Mechametz, the Mincha, Kohen is Mechametz the Mincha, right? So if it's B'shoigeg, Ba'oinus or something, he doesn't get Malchus. But if he does it, B'mezid, so he's over the lav of Laseofer Chometz, even the Shirayim, and Yochayv Malchus. Look, the Rambam says that it should be that the Kohen that makes the Mincha Chometz, for him to be Yochayv Malchus, he has to do a Meiser. Because otherwise it's a Lav Shem B'Meiser. What is the Meiser? Either he takes the Sa'or, what is the Zoyer cake, the yeast, and he mixes it into the mincha, and he makes the mincha chometz, or the shiur mincha chometz. That's one way. Or else up the Ram, and then he loike, gets malchus, because he was he did the lav of Lo Seofer Hamoed Chelkom, he did it b'maisa, or else there's another way. The Rambam, the Gemara in Menachos, that even if he doesn't actually, he takes the sword. You know, if you ever see when the ladies make challah, so they have little packages of yeast, right? Envelopes of yeast, and they tear it open and they mix it in. But the Rambam, even if you don't mix it in, but even if you only pour the yeast on top of the mincha, and eventually it's going to sink in, and it's going to be mechametz the mincha because it's a maisa. Even though it's only a maisa kol behu, but it's still a maisa. If, however, what if the mincha? What would happen if the kohen wouldn't do anything to be mechametz the mincha, but he would leave it, right? And the mincha would become chometz on its own. Because you remember, those that are learning the Daf Yomi, you remember that the Mishnah says, Kol hamenochas niloshus beposhrim, right? Because beposhrim is not cold and it's not hot, it's like warm water. They call it lukewarm water. And they used to call it, I don't know, leplach. I don't know if it's Yiddish, Polish, I don't know what it is. But leplach, right? You heard it? It's not Hungarian. No? No? Okay. No. Right, okay. So it's probably something Russian, Yiddish, I don't know, Polish, I don't know, whatever it is. But anyway, so it says that Kol HaMenochas Niloshus Bepoisherin Umeshamron Shelo Yichmetzu. Because you do Poisherim, so it makes it chometz faster, quicker, right? It's better to use cold water. Right? The matzah, you're not allowed to make matzah with warm water. That's why you take the mayim shalonu and you have to leave it. It has to be overnight, so it should get cool. No, so vusapis menachas is neloshus beposhrim. Neloshus beposhrim because it makes the mincha better. The poshrim, you make a better mincha. Why weren't the chachamim goys or what? Because it's b'mofim kahanim's reason, and the kahanim will be careful. But the Rashi says in Daf Gimel that Kol HaMenochas is Neloshus Beposhrim Umeshamrin Shelo Yichmetzu. What is it? So Rashi B'shas the Kohen, he has to work with the mincha and not stop and work very fast. Rashi very fast, so that it shouldn't become chometz. Okay, that's it. So what happens if the Kohen, if they make the mincha with poshrin, it makes it with poshrin. And then what happens? He takes the call on his cell phone, right? Right? It wasn't even talking a little bit until he finishes with his asik. It became chometz, right? Okay. And the simonim of chometz and the karne chagovim, according to Rabbi Yehuda, the chsifa ponav according to Rabbi Meir. This is already chometz nuksha. Or according to Rebbeah, Kaneh Chagovim is already Chometz Gomor. But Al Koponim, if the Kohen didn't do a Maisa, he just left it and it became Chometz, right? So he's over the lav, but there's no Malkus. Why? Because he didn't do a Maisa. It's a lav shem b'maisa. So he's over the lav because he neglected it and he allowed it to become Chometz. And so the lav is there, but he's not chayav malchus because there's no ma'isa. This is how the din is in Rambam. Okay. So now, if someone takes Sa'or, the Kohen, or someone maybe Pesach, and he's Machamed, no, they did a ma'isa, we know. But what happens? You leave it. You just leave it, right? You leave it. And by itself, after 18 minutes, right? After 18 minutes, after a mahalach meal, whether the mahalach meal is 18 minutes or 22 minutes, whatever it is, but whatever the mahalach meal is, if you leave it for that amount of time, and it becomes chometz on its own, right? Just by neglect. Let's call it not chometz by an act, but chometz by neglect. Okay, chometz by neglect, right? Okay. So what happens if it is a mincha? You're over the lav. If it's Hamoed, if it's Pesach, then you're not allowed to eat it, okay? So now, when the mincha becomes Hamoed in that way, so what changed in the mincha? What happened? What is the Hamoed exactly? So we know that Zohar HaKodesh and the Ramban brings it in when they said Hamibli ein kvorim b'Mitzrayim. So the Ramban says that it was after they had the Sor Shebe'isa, because the Pesach Mitzrayim was only noig one day, and after they put the Sor Shebe'isa, and the Sor Shebe'isa is the Eitzahora. So Memela they said Hamibli ein kvorim b'Mitzrayim, right? So what happens if a person makes the bread Hamoed? No, okay, he made it Hamoed, and if he does it on Pesach, like if he does it on Pesach, so he has to burn it, he has to make a brocha. He's over alav, right? If it happens by itself, you could be you're over bal yirah bal yimotzei, but the question is, what changed here in this Isa? You didn't put it in your sword, you didn't do anything. You left it a little bit by neglect, right? You left it a little bit of neglect. You neglected it, it becomes Hamoed, right? So you understand what that the Torah is teaching us on Musar Haskel, that that to do something wrong, when you do something wrong, it's not only doing something wrong, it's sometimes neglecting doing what's right. Understand? You neglect to do what's right, and atzlus, right? And just I'm not going to pay attention. It also becomes fun. No, what came? What is in this Asa more now than was 5 minutes ago? Nothing, right? A little bit of time. That's all. The time, okay. You remember when Elisha came, and he came to Shunem, and he found there was a big tzara there. There was a Yehuda, she was the Eishes Avadia, and the husband died. The Avadia was a tzaddik gomur, and he left no money, and she owed money, and the lender came. He wanted to take her children for avodim. Isha achas min nishay b'nei tzorkel Elisha. What am I going to do? So Elisha told her, don't wait. What did he tell her? What do you have in the house? Said nothing. English is chosech krum. I have nothing. Ela asuch shemen. I have a little keli with a little bit of shemen zayis, right? Oh, I told her that's good. You understand? Because there's something that the nesh should be chal, and he told her to go borrow kelim, and she borrowed from all the neighbors all the kelim that she could find, and Elisha, they brought the brocha, and it came shemen and shemen and shemen and shemen and shemen, and she had so much shemen that she had enough for herself. She sold the shemen, she paid off her choivas, and she became gliklach, right? But what did he say? He said, Ma yeshlach babayas, what do you have in the house? So she told him nothing. She said, there's nothing there that should be, there's nothing there. I have not. He told them, no, you think you have nothing, but you have a lot. You understand? If you have a little bit and you have a betochen, that's a lot. Okay? So now, so come to the Hagada. We'll go back to the Hagada before we daven Ma'ariv. We'll come back to the Hagada and say, Manishtana alayla zeh. What is the difference? So the kid, the ben, the child, he says, he says, I don't understand. He said, what's the difference between the matzah and the pizza? What's the difference? You understand? The matzah is flat and the pizza, what's the difference? No, this is chametz and that's not chametz. What's the difference? That you have to tell him that ma nishtanu alayla zeh is a question, but it's also an answer. That you should know that ma nishtanu alayla zeh, what does ma mean? A little, that sometimes the difference between good and evil is only ma, it's only nothing. It's a little nothing. To you it looks like it's nothing. So nishtanu alayla zeh, what's the difference? Ma, the difference is a very small difference. Just like the difference between the ches and the hay. What is the difference between chometz, right? And matzah, what is the difference between the ches and the hay? There's a little bit, right, on the side, there's a little bit of a Pesach, right? There's a little bit of a, well, what is the Pesach? The Pesach is a Pesach, for the Balei Tshuva. Right, that a person should be able, because both are open from the bottom, but the hay has a little bit of an opening between the gag and the regel small. And what is that for? That's for the Balei Tshuva. The Tarash says abrasions. This is for the Balei Tshuva. So they say that what is the difference? Ma nishtana alayla azeh. You know what the difference is? The difference is almost nothing. It's almost nothing. The difference is a very, very darkest difference. But the result is a very, very big result. The difference between the chometz and the ma'am, what is it? It's a difference in a minute, 17 minutes, 18 minutes. That's the difference, right? And what's the difference between the ches and the hay? It's a little pesach, that's all. You should understand that when something is wrong and something isn't right, it doesn't only mean that it has to be a catastrophe, a major catastrophe. Sometimes something starts out wrong, very, very small beginning, you don't even notice the beginning. Right, and that blows up and it becomes a major catastrophe, right? And that's the manishtana la azeh. What is the difference between the chometz and the matzah? Very little. But what happens? You don't pay attention. You neglect it. The little, it grows up. Okay.